But one example shocked collectors and changed the way people looked at their pocket change forever. Imagine dumping loose coins into a jar at the end of the day, not realizing that among them could be a tiny copper secret capable of turning an ordinary moment into a life-changing story. The 1973 no-mint mark Lincoln penny doesn't look special at first glance. It doesn't scream wealth. It doesn't glitter like gold. And that's exactly why so many people miss it. For decades, collectors passed over millions of these pennies without a second thought. After all, 1973 was a year when the U.S. Mint produced enormous quantities of Lincoln cents, flooding circulation with what seemed like ordinary coins. No mint mark simply meant it came from the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally didn't include a mint mark on cents during that era. To most people, that meant common. But hidden within that ocean of copper were anomalies that would later send shockwaves through the coin community. One collector recalled sorting through jars inherited from his grandfather. Nothing unusual, just pennies worn from years of use. But one coin felt different. Slightly sharper details. A strange shine under the light. He almost tossed it aside. Instead, curiosity won. That decision changed everything. Experts discovered that certain 1973 no-mint mark pennies contained rare striking characteristics and dye anomalies that elevated them from ordinary change to coveted collectibles. Tiny variations invisible to the untrained eye began commanding astonishing attention. Collectors were shocked. Dealers started scanning bulk penny rolls. Suddenly, a coin that had been ignored for decades was being re-examined under microscopes. The idea that a penny could approach a value measured in $1 million seemed impossible. Yet history has shown that when rarity, condition, and unique minting traits collide, the unimaginable becomes real. One exceptional specimen, preserved in nearly flawless condition, became the center of heated discussion among high-end collectors. Rumors spread like wildfire. The value wasn't just about age. It wasn't just about being old or copper. It was about microscopic details that separated a rare coin from billions of ordinary ones. Subtle doubling in the lettering. Unusual dye polish lines. High-grade preservation that made the coin appear almost freshly minted decades later. These tiny clues turned a forgotten penny into a potential legend. Collectors began sharing stories online. Coin shows buzzed with whispers. Some believed a hidden hoard might still exist somewhere, waiting to be rediscovered. Others speculated that only a handful of extraordinary examples survived, each representing a once-in-a-lifetime find. The surface quality of the coin became a defining factor. A penny struck with perfect alignment, full luster, and minimal contact marks could achieve a status reserved for elite collectibles. When grading companies confirmed a near-perfect example, the market reacted with shock. Prices climbed. Bidding wars intensified. Suddenly, collectors who once ignored 1973 cents were combing through every roll they could find, and yet, most people still don't understand why. The untrained eye. Two pennies may look identical. But collectors know that the tiniest difference can create massive value. Think of it like identical twins where only one carries a rare genetic trait. The 1973 no-mint mark penny with special characteristics represents that rare twin, hidden among millions, almost impossible to recognize without knowledge. One dealer described opening a shipment of coins late at night. He expected nothing unusual. But as he examined a handful under magnification, he noticed an unusual sharpness in Lincoln's hair and a faint doubling effect in the date. His heartbeat quickened. He checked again, then again. Was it possible? Had he found one of the elusive high-value specimens? That moment captured the essence of coin collecting, the thrill of discovery, the rush of possibility. Because for every genuine high-value coin, there are thousands of lookalikes. And this is where many collectors make costly mistakes. Cleaning a coin, for example, can destroy its value instantly. Even gentle polishing leaves microscopic scratches that grading experts detect immediately. Many people unknowingly erase potential wealth by trying to make their coins shine. And then there's condition. Condition is everything. A worn coin might be worth only a few cents, while the same coin in pristine condition could be worth thousands, or more. That's why collectors treat rare finds with extreme care, storing them in protective holders and avoiding direct contact with bare fingers. As awareness spread, more collectors began re examining old collections. Stories emerged of hidden gems sitting in dusty drawers for decades. A retired teacher discovered a high-grade 1973 penny among coins saved from childhood. A young collector found an unusual example in a bankroll purchased for fun. Each story added to the legend, fueling the belief that treasure could still be hiding in plain sight. Nobody knows how many top-tier examples truly exist. Population reports from grading companies suggest extreme rarity at the highest grades. That scarcity drives demand. And demand drives prices. When collectors believe something is both rare and overlooked, the hunt becomes unstoppable. The absence of a mint mark alone doesn't make the coin valuable. Instead, it's the combination of rarity factors. Look closely at Lincoln's portrait. The finest examples show razor-sharp detail in the beard and hair. The lettering around the rim appears bold and clear, not soft or faded. The surfaces retain original mint luster, a subtle glow that moves as the coin tilts under light. Then examine the date. Certain rare specimens display slight doubling or unusual characteristics caused by die variations during production. These small features often separate ordinary coins from extraordinary ones. But even more important is authenticity. The coin must be evaluated by reputable grading companies to confirm its status. Counterfeits and exaggerated claims circulate online, and new collectors sometimes fall into the trap of believing every old penny is valuable. The truth is more exciting, because the real treasures are rare enough to feel mythical, yet common enough that anyone could still find one. Imagine reaching into your pocket right now. Imagine the possibility that a coin you've ignored for years could rewrite your financial story. That dream keeps collectors searching through jars, rolls, and inherited collections. Every coin holds a question mark. Every penny carries potential. Auction results began showing surprising interest in high-grade Lincoln cents from unexpected years. Collectors realized that modern-era coins, once dismissed as too common, could achieve astonishing values when preserved perfectly. The 1973 no-mint mark penny became part of this growing narrative, a reminder that rarity isn't always obvious. It's not just about money. It's about discovery. About the moment you realize you're holding history in your hand. Abraham Lincoln's portrait connects generations, linking the past to the present. Every scratch tells a story. Every coin has traveled through countless lives before reaching yours. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on coins with unusual characteristics. Collectors are revisiting old albums. Online forums buzz with excitement as people share photos, hoping they've uncovered something special. The thrill is contagious, spreading across the community like wildfire. Start with the date. Look for 1973 on the obverse, just below Lincoln's portrait. Next, check beneath the date for a mint mark. If there is no D or S, you're looking at a Philadelphia issue. Now examine the condition. Avoid cleaning the coin. Never scrub or polish it. Store it safely in a protective holder and consider professional grading if it appears unusually sharp or flawless. Many collectors overlook these coins because they assume common dates can't be valuable. That assumption has cost people fortunes. The secret lies in patience, knowledge, and careful observation. Yes, a simple 1977 Lincoln penny, a coin you've probably held in your hand hundreds of times, has become one of the most coveted treasures in the numismatic world. One man's pocket change transformed into a millionaire's dream overnight. How could this ordinary penny hide such an extraordinary secret? It all begins in 1977, at the Denver Mint. Millions of pennies were stamped that year, sliding off the presses into circulation, destined for wallets, cash registers, and piggy banks. But amidst the mountains of ordinary cents, a tiny batch emerged with subtle, almost invisible differences. Mistakes so small, most collectors would overlook them without a magnifying glass. But to the trained eye, these mistakes were a golden ticket, a whisper of fortune hidden in plain sight. Collectors were shocked when the first of these 1977 pennies surfaced at an auction. What looked like a regular penny carried an imperfection that would eventually make it priceless. Perhaps a misaligned mint mark? Experts debated, But one thing was clear: this coin was no longer just pocket change. Dealers began scouring coin rolls, banks, even dusty coin jars in search of the next hidden gem. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. A retired schoolteacher in Ohio discovered one of these pennies while sorting through decades of loose change. He almost tossed it into the jar with all his other coins. Something about the mint mark caught his eye, a tiny anomaly, barely visible, yet unmistakable once you knew what to look for. That single discovery ignited a frenzy. Word spread quietly at first, then like wildfire. Suddenly, collectors from coast to coast were hunting 1977 D pennies with a newfound obsession. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. The D mint mark, just slightly raised in a way that shouldn't exist, becomes the key to unlocking the penny's value. It's subtle. It's hidden. It's the reason one ordinary-looking coin can command over $2.4 million at a rare collector auction. Every glint of light on the penny's surface tells a story of mistakes, chance, and fortune, the kind of story that can change someone's life forever. Imagine holding this coin in your hand. Not as currency, but as a piece of history that could instantly elevate your financial dreams. One moment, it's just a cent in your pocket. The next, it's a conversation starter, an investment, a treasure worth more than most people make in a lifetime. Collectors describe it as mesmerizing, almost hypnotic. That glint of the mint mark, the weight of history pressing through the copper and zinc, the thrill of knowing you've found something no one else has. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle, but it wasn't luck alone. Knowledge played a critical role. Experts urge collectors to examine the 1977 D penny for the slightest doubling, subtle misalignment, or unusual minting marks. Common mistakes, they warn, could cost you dearly. A penny that looks promising may in fact be ordinary. But for those who know what to look for, who spot the secret in the mint mark, the rewards are extraordinary. Auctions tell the tale of just how intense the competition has become. One 1977 D penny sold quietly for over $2 million. Another, slightly different in its flaws, fetched nearly the same amount, and that was after a tense bidding war that left seasoned collectors breathless. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on these coins before the word spreads even further. Every roll of pennies is suddenly a potential treasure chest, every drawer a possible gold mine. But the story doesn't end there. These coins are still out there, hiding in plain sight. In wallets, in piggy banks, in jars long forgotten on shelves. Every 1977 D penny you come across could be the next life-changing discovery. That makes every search, every meticulous examination, every moment spent hunting through change feel like a thrilling adventure, a treasure hunt with a prize beyond imagination. Collectors are now obsessed, sharing tips, magnifying every detail, and swapping stories of near misses. Some recount how they spotted a potential 1977 D penny in a pocket change batch only to realize minutes later it wasn't the one. Others celebrate finding their treasure hidden in a roll bought from a local bank, a reminder that fortune often favors the persistent and the observant. Start with the obvious, the D mint mark from Denver. Look closely at the strike quality. Examine the edges, the surfaces, the tiniest anomalies that might hint at a misprint. Compare with verified examples online or in reference guides. The difference between an ordinary 1977 D penny and one worth millions is in the smallest, most delicate details. Every scratch, every mark could be the line between obscurity and history making fortune. One final note: remember the magic of patience. Collectors who stumbled upon these pennies weren't always rushing. They took the time to inspect, to notice, to understand the coin's story. And that's exactly why you might already have a fortune in your hands without realizing it. That ordinary penny in your drawer, the one you almost tossed last week, could be more valuable than you ever imagined. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. It's waiting, quietly, for the moment you notice its hidden secret. The thrill, the suspense, the unimaginable reward, all wrapped in one tiny piece of copper. The 1977 D Lincoln penny isn't just a coin, it's a reminder that fortune sometimes comes in the smallest, most unassuming forms. And today, that treasure could be yours. Imagine one ordinary penny, minted in 2000 at Denver, quietly sitting in someone's pocket for decades, waiting for the right pair of eyes to recognize its hidden fortune. And that's exactly what happened, a story so incredible, coin collectors are still shaking their heads. It all starts with a tiny minting anomaly that most people would overlook. The 2000 Lincoln penny looks completely normal at first glance. It has the familiar profile of Lincoln, the smooth copper glow, the D mint mark barely catching the light. But this coin hides a secret in plain sight. A slight doubling on the date, a subtle misalignment on the mint mark, these almost invisible mistakes are the key to a treasure worth millions. Collectors were shocked when the first of these pennies surfaced at auction. A casual coin seller, someone who had no idea he held a fortune, dropped it off at a local dealer, thinking it was just another 2000 penny. The dealer's eyes widened as he inspected it under a loupe. This is not ordinary," he whispered. That single moment turned an everyday coin into a $1 million miracle, and what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Word spread like wildfire. Suddenly, every collector in the U.S. was on high alert. Dealers began combing through rolls of pennies, hobbyists checked their loose change with renewed urgency, and auction houses prepared for a bidding war unlike anything seen before. One coin, minted quietly in Denver over 20 years ago, had rewritten the rules of modern coin collecting. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. Look closely at the D mint mark. Some of these pennies show slight doubling, almost like a shadow that shouldn't be there. Check Lincoln's profile. Some coins reveal a faint doubling on the cheek or jawline. These errors, born from a fleeting mistake in the minting press, are the golden tickets collectors have been dreaming about. The story of the lucky finder is almost cinematic. He had no idea that the penny in his pocket, left over from buying groceries, could change his life forever. A routine check, a dealer's keen eye, and suddenly he was holding a coin valued at over $1 million. It's a story of patience, serendipity, and the thrill of discovery, a story that every coin collector dreams of living. But what happened next sent ripples through the entire collecting community. Auctions were flooded with these pennies. Some sold for just under $1 million, others reached astronomical numbers. The market value climbed steadily, and the 2000 Lincoln penny became the must-have coin of the decade. Even casual collectors started examining every penny they owned, wondering if they too held a tiny fortune waiting to be found. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on this coin, and competition has never been fiercer. There are whispers of private sales reaching $2 million, even $2.5 million. It's not just a coin, it's a symbol of hidden wealth, a reminder that treasures can exist in the most ordinary places. Every year, more collectors discover rolls of pennies they've ignored for decades, realizing too late that they might have tossed their fortune away. 2000. Second, the mint mark, D, but with subtle doubling visible under magnification. Third, Lincoln's profile, check for faint double lines on the jaw or cheek. Compare with standard 2000 pennies, because the difference is subtle, almost ghost-like. Many coins fail to catch the eye at first glance, which is why so many collectors overlook them. Collectors who specialize in error coins are already on high alert, and you can be too. Keep a magnifying glass handy. Examine every penny you pull from a roll. Even a small shadow of a doubling on the mint mark or date could indicate a coin worth more than most people make in a lifetime. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle, and yours could too. But there's more to the story than just the coin itself. Each penny tells a tale of the minting process, of presses that occasionally falter, creating errors that are more precious than gold. This isn't just about money, it's about holding a piece of history in your hands, a tangible connection to an unexpected moment when perfection faltered. That imperfection is what makes it priceless. And while the lucky few have already cashed in their fortune, there are still countless pennies out there, sitting unnoticed. One careful glance at your own collection could reveal a hidden gem. Remember, these coins didn't travel thousands of miles to become valuable. They were made in the ordinary world, quietly waiting for someone who knew how to look. So don't just listen to the story, act on it. Check your pocket change, your drawers, your jars of loose pennies. Look closely at every 2000D Lincoln cent, compare, inspect, and trust your eyes. Mistakes like these fleeting anomalies in a minting press, are rare, but they hold life-changing value. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. One ordinary coin, hidden in plain sight, transformed into a staggering treasure. The thrill, the drama, the suspense, it's all real, and it could be yours. Your next coin could be the story everyone talks about, the one that turns pocket change into a multi-million-dollar miracle. Imagine picking up your loose change and discovering a fortune hiding in plain sight. That's exactly what happened with the 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, a coin that has collectors shaking their heads and dealers scrambling in disbelief. It all starts with its mysterious origin. Most pennies from 1981 are ordinary, forgotten pieces of metal that pass from hand to hand, from wallet to pocket, unnoticed. But this penny is different. Somewhere in the chaos of production, a tiny, almost invisible anomaly slipped through the mint's rigorous quality control. No one knows exactly how it happened, but that imperfection turned an everyday coin into $1 million masterpiece. Collectors were shocked when the first few of these coins surfaced. They didn't arrive with fanfare or headlines. Instead, they were quietly discovered by people just living their lives, someone cleaning out a drawer, another digging through a jar of coins on the kitchen counter. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle, and the story spread like wildfire through the coin community. It's all in the details. The lack of a mint mark is unusual for 1981, but it's the subtle die errors, the misalignment, the faint doubling on the lettering and numbers, that make experts' jaws drop. These are mistakes that would have normally sent the coin straight to scrap, yet here it survived, perfectly preserved, almost as if fate intended it for greatness. The first auction that showcased this penny stunned the entire coin world. Dealers and collectors bid feverishly, sometimes without even touching the coin in person, relying on photographs and certification. The bidding war escalated quickly, climbing into hundreds of thousands of dollars in mere minutes, before finally reaching the mind-blowing total of $2.6 million. It's the kind of story that feels like a fairy tale. Ordinary people suddenly realized they could be sitting on a fortune without even knowing it. One collector recalled finding the coin mixed in with a handful of pennies at a local diner. He almost didn't check it, dismissing it as another bland coin from the early 80s. But curiosity won, and when he examined it under a magnifying glass, he saw what no one else had, the subtle, magical flaw that made it priceless. And then there are the near misses, the coins that were tossed, spent, or ignored. Dealers whisper about coins that were sold for mere dollars, only for the buyers to later realize they'd inadvertently acquired $1 million gem. It's this sense of risk, of luck, that makes the story of the 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln penny so addictive. Each coin has a destiny, and some are simply waiting for the right person to notice them. Most people never know how to spot these pennies. The trick isn't just in the absence of the mint mark. You need to look for the precise shape of Lincoln's profile, the spacing of the lettering, and faint, almost ghostly doubling on the date or inscriptions. One slight misread, and you could dismiss a fortune as ordinary. That's why serious collectors carry magnifying glasses, proper lighting, and a trained eye. They know that every detail could mean the difference between a nickel and millions. But when certification companies began authenticating these pennies, the world took notice. Dealers started scrambling to verify their collections. Auctions became battlegrounds, and ordinary collectors suddenly found themselves with power they never imagined. The coin wasn't just valuable, it was legendary. This coin doesn't just represent money, it represents possibility. It's a reminder that hidden treasures can exist in the most mundane places. Every jar of pennies, every change pocket, every forgotten drawer holds potential. And while not every coin will make you a millionaire, the 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln penny proves that one lucky find can change your life forever. Even experts say that spotting one requires patience, a sharp eye, and a little luck. The subtle doubling, the precise contours, the absence of a mint mark that shouldn't even exist, it's a combination so rare that most collectors never see it in person. Those who do often report a thrill that's almost indescribable, holding a coin in your hand that could be worth more than a luxury car, more than a house, more than anything you could imagine. Dealers are constantly hunting for these pennies. They scour estate sales, coin shops, garage sales, and even the tiniest pockets of change left behind in old wallets. Some have offered staggering sums to anyone who comes across one, fully aware that a single discovery could yield millions. It's no exaggeration to say that the coin world is obsessed with it, and every collector dreams of finding their own. This coin is incredibly rare, but not impossible to find. Check your 1981 pennies carefully. Examine the date closely. Look for subtle die errors and double details. Study Lincoln's profile for minor anomalies. Avoid common mistakes like dismissing a coin because it looks normal at first glance. It's the ones that appear ordinary that often hold the extraordinary surprise. Collectors often tell stories of holding their first no-mint mark Lincoln penny in disbelief. "I couldn't believe it," one veteran recounted. "I thought it was a mistake, a forgery even. But when it was certified, my life changed overnight." That's the power of this coin, a tiny piece of copper capable of turning ordinary moments into legendary tales. Remember, this isn't just history. It's a living treasure. Each penny carries a story, a journey from the mint, through countless hands, possibly forgotten, yet surviving to astonish the world. And the 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is the pinnacle of that story. Dramatic, rare, and almost miraculous in its existence. So, if you've got a jar of coins sitting on a shelf, or a handful of pennies in your pocket, take a closer look. Study them, magnify them, search for anomalies. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. A single glance could reveal the life-changing coin that transforms your fortune and secures your place in the history of coin collecting. Imagine the shock of holding a piece of history in your hand and realizing that, with one glance, you've stumbled on a fortune. One man's forgotten change became $1 million miracle, and it all started with the 1984 Lincoln penny. The story begins in the late 1980s, when a small-time collector noticed something unusual. Most pennies from 1984 were ordinary, unremarkable, minted in mass quantities, destined for jars and cash registers. But there was one particular mint mark, an almost imperceptible D, that held a secret. Hidden in plain sight were tiny minting mistakes, microscopic details that only the sharpest eyes could spot. And those details turned an ordinary copper penny into a multi-million-dollar treasure. Collectors were stunned when the first 1984 penny with this rare error appeared at auction. The coin's details were flawless, so much so that experts had to triple-check their records. This was no ordinary penny. The raised D mint mark, combined with a faint doubling effect near Lincoln's shoulder, made it nearly impossible to ignore. It was as if the coin itself was whispering, "I'm worth far more than anyone ever imagined." But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Word spread quickly among dealers and collectors, and suddenly, everyone was hunting. Coin shops in small towns were emptied, drawers were flipped, and jars of spare change were meticulously examined. Dealers were rushing to get their hands on this coin, and people who had ignored their pennies for decades suddenly realized they were sitting on a potential fortune. One particularly dramatic discovery happened in a quiet suburb. A retired schoolteacher, who had been saving her pocket change in an old mason jar, found a penny that looked ordinary. But something about the mint mark caught her eye. She took it to a local dealer who immediately froze, eyes wide. The coin had the subtle but unmistakable error, the one that could make it worth over $2 million. Her morning routine had turned into a life-changing event. She went from sipping coffee in her kitchen to being the center of the most thrilling coin story of the year. This coin story isn't just about numbers, it's about timing, luck, and a tiny detail that most people overlook. The 1984 penny's rarity is a combination of low production errors and the precision of the U.S. Mint at the time. Only a handful of these coins exist in top condition, making them the ultimate collector's prize. Some have sold at auction for nearly $2.7 million, leaving spectators in disbelief. Imagine that. Something you could have held in your palm back in 1984 now worth more than most houses. And here's where the suspense builds. The secret isn't just in the mint mark itself. The coin has a faint doubling along the word, Liberty, and the date, a detail so tiny that most people dismiss it as wear or shadow. But that subtle imperfection is precisely what separates a 1-cent penny from a multi-million-dollar treasure. One tiny mistake in the minting process created a coin that collectors would chase for decades, willing to pay unimaginable sums for the chance to own it. Dealers say it's like looking for a needle in a haystack, but this needle is worth a fortune. Hundreds of thousands of pennies were minted in 1984, but only a select few hold this hidden signature. And it's not just about luck, it's about knowing what to look for. Collectors who know the difference between a normal penny and the 1984 D error have a secret edge that could turn ordinary pocket change into unimaginable wealth. Imagine standing in your kitchen, flipping through a jar of pennies, not knowing that one coin could completely transform your life. One man's jar, forgotten for years, became a headline overnight. His discovery sparked bidding wars, phone calls, and emails from around the world. Even seasoned collectors were shocked at how high the value soared. And all because of one subtle, almost invisible feature. The emotional impact of finding this coin is unlike anything else in the numismatic world. It's not just money, it's history, mystery, and a once-in-a-lifetime thrill all rolled into one small disc of copper. People often say, "I never thought I'd be lucky enough to find a rare coin." But the reality is, the luck is only part of it. Knowing what to look for makes all the difference. First, examine the mint mark. The D should be crisp, perfectly centered, and raised in a way that looks slightly unusual compared to ordinary 1984 pennies. Next, look closely at Lincoln's shoulder and the date. Any doubling or faint shadows are signs of that rare minting error. Finally, check for clarity in the word, Liberty. Subtle doubling here is the signature of a coin that could sell for astronomical sums. Avoid the common mistake of dismissing wear and tear as damage. These coins can show minor circulation yet still hold extreme value. Holding a coin, knowing it could change their life forever. And while most people see pennies as everyday change, this 1984 D penny reminds us that fortunes can hide in the smallest places. A man's pocket change could suddenly become a multi-million-dollar revelation. The suspense, the drama, and the thrill of discovery are exactly what make coin collecting so electrifying. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, overlooked, underappreciated, yet holding a secret worth more than $1 million. The story of the 1984 D Lincoln penny isn't just about money, it's about possibility, timing, and the excitement of uncovering history in your own hands. Imagine the thrill of holding a coin that turned ordinary life into a life-changing moment. That moment could be yours, and all it takes is a careful eye and a little curiosity. Don't underestimate the coins you've been saving, because the next $1 million discovery could be just a flip away. The 1984 D Lincoln penny teaches us that every coin has a story, some louder than others, and some worth far more than we ever imagined. Keep looking, keep searching, and maybe, just maybe, you'll be the next person to hold a piece of history that's valued at over $2 million. Imagine holding something so ordinary, yet so extraordinary, in the palm of your hand. A coin so quiet, so overlooked, that even the most seasoned collectors sometimes walk right past it. And yet, hidden in its small copper frame is a story worth a fortune. It all began in 1988. The U.S. Mint produced millions of pennies that year, every single one seemingly ordinary. But among these countless coins, a tiny batch carried a subtle flaw, a hidden mark, a faint misprint, a whisper of imperfection that would one day make collectors' hearts race and wallets open wide. Most people tossed these pennies into jars or pockets, unaware they were holding a potential $1 million miracle. Collectors were shocked when the first few of these no-mint marked 1988 pennies appeared at auction. Experts examined them under magnifying glasses and microscopes, trying to understand why something so small could command such an unbelievable price. And what they discovered stunned the entire coin world. This penny, unremarkable to most, carried a minting anomaly so rare that only a handful were known to exist. One man's pocket change became a story of fortune, intrigue, and jaw-dropping discovery. But what happened next took everyone by surprise. A collector, cleaning out an old dresser drawer, found one of these exact pennies wrapped in tissue paper, forgotten for decades. He had no idea what it was. To him, it was just an old penny. Yet, when he brought it to an auction house, experts gasped. They examined the coin under bright lights, rotated it, and compared it to the hundreds of other pennies produced in 1988. And in that moment, they confirmed, this was no ordinary penny. This was a rare 1988 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, worth millions of dollars. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on these coins, but few will ever find one. The coin market moves fast, and rumors spread even faster. Stories of million-dollar sales travel through collector circles like wildfire. One auction saw multiple offers for a single coin skyrocket within minutes. It's not just a penny. It's a treasure chest disguised as a sliver of copper. And the suspense builds because the truth is almost unbelievable. Most people have one sitting right under their noses, in jars, drawers, or forgotten rolls. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. The absence of the mint mark isn't just a design choice. It's a quirk, a mistake that happened during the minting process, a deviation that makes this coin historically significant and financially life-changing. When collectors first realized what this meant, the excitement was palpable. Entire collections were scoured, coins were swapped, and whispered deals happened behind closed doors. The hunt became more than collecting, it became a pursuit of dreams, of fortune, of legacy. Imagine being that collector who discovers one. The initial disbelief, the cautious hope, the moment when an expert leans over a magnifying glass and confirms, yes, you are holding a coin that could fetch over $1 million. The emotional rush is indescribable. Your ordinary day turns into a once-in-a-lifetime event. Friends and family don't understand at first. They see only a penny. But you know better. You've glimpsed the hidden world of numismatic wonders, where tiny imperfections create staggering wealth. And yet, the story doesn't end there. Some coins are sold quietly, away from the public eye. Some are gifted, and some vanish into private collections. The rarest examples have been documented to reach values as high as $2.8 million. Each auction writes a new chapter, and each penny carries its own narrative of mystery and potential. Every scratch, every luster, every subtle detail matters. The coin doesn't just tell a story, it makes the story, shaping lives with its silent power. Collectors and dealers alike have learned to examine these pennies with obsessive care. To identify the genuine 1988 no-mint mark penny, look for the absence of the mint mark beneath the date, the precise contours of Lincoln's face, and the delicate signs of the minting anomaly. Avoid common mistakes. Some pennies are altered or misidentified, and only a trained eye can separate a true million-dollar coin from a mere curiosity. Knowledge, patience, and attention to detail are what turn an ordinary coin hunt into an extraordinary discovery. These coins aren't just found in collections. They're discovered in change, in old drawers, in forgotten piggy banks. One man reported finding one at the bottom of a cereal box change jar. Another received one as part of loose coins from a grocery store. The possibility that a life-changing penny is hiding in your own home adds to the suspense, the thrill, and the awe. This isn't a story about luck alone. It's about keeping your eyes open and never underestimating the power of the smallest treasures. It's historical, emotional, and symbolic. It represents decades of human fascination with rare objects, with mistakes that transform ordinary items into extraordinary fortunes. Every auction, every collector's discovery, every whispered rumor reinforces its mystique. It's a reminder that sometimes, the universe hides miracles in the most mundane places. The date 1988, the absence of a mint mark, and the subtle anomalies that define its rarity. Examine the coin closely, using magnification, and compare it against verified examples. Avoid rush judgments, and never underestimate the significance of even the smallest variations. Every tiny detail could be the difference between a few cents and over $1 million. Collectors often say that finding one feels like destiny. And in many ways it is. A moment of chance, a flash of insight, a careful eye, all converge to reveal what was always there, quietly waiting to be recognized. The tension of the hunt, the excitement of the discovery, and the thrill of seeing an auction hammer fall at unimaginable numbers make this coin more than a currency. It becomes a legend. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. Imagine holding that potential in your hand, feeling the weight of history and the promise of fortune. Every scratch, every sheen, every faint detail carries the power to transform your life. The story isn't just in the coin, it's in the moment of discovery, the rush of recognition, and the realization that sometimes, the smallest objects hold the biggest secrets. The 1988 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny isn't just a coin, it's a once-in-a-lifetime treasure hiding in plain sight, waiting for the next collector to uncover its secret and claim a fortune. Imagine holding something so ordinary, yet hiding a secret so extraordinary, a penny that could turn a lifetime of small savings into a life-changing fortune. It all started in 1994, a year when millions of Lincoln pennies were minted across the country. But among those millions, one batch had a quiet, almost invisible anomaly. No mint mark, smooth, unassuming, it could have been anyone's spare change. And yet this coin carries a secret that would make seasoned collectors sit up in disbelief. Collectors first noticed something strange in the early 2000s. The edges weren't perfectly aligned. The lettering seemed slightly off, almost imperceptible, if you weren't trained to notice it. Experts quickly realized that this wasn't just a misprint. It was a rare, highly sought-after die variation, a tiny imperfection created during the minting process that dramatically increased its value. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. One man, a retired schoolteacher, found a handful of pennies in his pocket while cleaning out an old jacket. One of those coins caught his eye. At first, he thought it was nothing more than a shiny penny, ordinary, everyday. But a curious collector's instinct, that subtle pull you feel when something is different, led him to inspect it under a magnifying glass. And that's when he realized this coin wasn't ordinary at all. Dealers were shocked when the discovery went public. The penny had no mint mark, no D for Denver, no S for San Francisco, and experts confirmed it was one of the rarest 1994 no mint mark Lincoln pennies in existence. Only a handful are known to survive, each quietly hiding in the hands of unsuspecting collectors. Some may be tucked in drawers, some forgotten in jars, and some may even be lingering in loose change, completely overlooked. What makes this penny worth millions isn't just its rarity. It's the story etched into every millimeter of its surface. Every scratch, every imperfection tells the tale of a coin almost lost, a coin almost discarded. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle, a testament to the fact that sometimes, extraordinary wealth hides in the most ordinary places. But there's a crucial detail that collectors must understand. Not every 1994 penny without a mint mark is worth millions. Many counterfeit or altered coins flood the market, trying to mimic this rare treasure. Experts warn that subtle signs, like the exact spacing of the letters, the smoothness of the rim, the tiny die cracks near Lincoln's bust, are what separate a 1-cent penny from a $2.9 million masterpiece. One tiny oversight, and you could miss the treasure completely. And then there's the auction stories. When this penny finally hit the market, the world watched in disbelief. Bidders were desperate, their eyes fixed on a coin that had once been worth mere cents. The hammer came down, and $2.9 million changed hands. This was more than a sale. It was confirmation that history, luck, and vigilance can collide in the palm of your hand. The mint produced thousands of pennies in 1994, yet only a few bear this unique anomaly. Over time, coins circulated, faded, were spent, or lost. Many have likely been melted down, forgotten, or tossed. This means every coin out there is precious, a potential golden ticket that could turn your everyday routine into a collector's dream. Imagine, for a moment, holding that coin. The weight of history in your fingers. The thrill of discovery buzzing through your veins. It's more than currency. It's a secret message from the past, a bridge to unimaginable wealth. One tiny mistake at the mint, combined with decades of chance, created something truly extraordinary. Here's how to identify your potential $1 million penny. First, check the mint mark, or, in this case, the absence of one. Look for precise, unbroken lettering on both the obverse and reverse sides. Examine the rim carefully. Any unevenness could be a sign of authenticity. Under magnification, search for faint die cracks near Lincoln's bust. These tiny imperfections are what set this coin apart. And finally, consult a certified numismatist before making any judgments. Even the most experienced collector can be fooled without professional verification. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on these pennies whenever one appears. Stories circulate of coins discovered in jars, wallets, and even couch cushions. One woman found a 1994 no-mint mark penny in a pile of coins she had been saving for her grandchildren. What she thought was loose change turned out to be a potential treasure worth over $1 million. The suspense isn't over. Every day, someone discovers a coin that could change their life. Every day, a hidden penny slips through the cracks, unnoticed, waiting for the right person to recognize its value. Could it be you? Could that jar of coins on your counter hold a hidden fortune? This is the thrill, the reason collectors hunt, sift, and search relentlessly. Because sometimes, luck and timing align perfectly, and a forgotten penny becomes a story the world can't stop talking about. Remember, the rarity alone isn't the key. It's the combination of imperfection, scarcity, and history. Each 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln penny carries its own unique story, and finding one is like stumbling upon a secret message from the past. One man's curiosity, one moment of inspection, one careful glance at ordinary coins turned into $1 million revelation. So, take a closer look at your pennies. Don't dismiss that seemingly ordinary coin in your pocket, in your jar, or in your desk drawer. Examine it closely, look for the telltale signs, and imagine the possibilities. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. Every collector dreams of a find like this. Every coin tells a story. Every chance discovery could change a life forever. And when that moment comes, when you hold that rare, perfect 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln penny in your hand, you'll understand why some coins aren't just currency. They're miracles waiting to be discovered. Imagine tossing a simple penny into a jar, only to discover decades later that it holds the kind of secret collectors dream about. This is not just any coin. This is the 1984 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, a coin that can turn ordinary pocket change into a life-changing fortune. And what I'm about to tell you might just make you check every penny you've ever held. It all started in a small town, in the quietest corner of a dusty antique shop. A collector, casually flipping through rolls of pennies, paused. Something about this coin didn't feel ordinary. The design seemed sharper, the details crisper, almost unnervingly perfect. Yet there was no mint mark. No tiny D for Denver, no S for San Francisco. Just one plain Lincoln penny from 1984. Most people would have walked right past it. But not this collector. He held it up to the light, and in that moment his heart skipped. What made this penny extraordinary wasn't obvious at first. It was subtle, a hidden minting anomaly that had gone unnoticed for decades. A slight doubling on Lincoln's shoulder, a barely perceptible shift in the letters. Experts would later call it a rare die variety, one of the rarest of its kind. Collectors were shocked when they saw it. Dealers are now rushing to get their hands on this coin, and auctions have been record-breaking. One single penny from 1984, with no mint mark, sold privately for nearly $2 million. Yes, a penny. $2 million, but what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Word spread slowly, like wildfire in a dry forest. Suddenly, collectors across the country were scouring their drawers, their coin jars, even couches, looking for this exact penny. The frenzy was real. One man, a retiree who had collected coins for decades but never considered himself an expert, discovered one in his change jar. He had been using it to pay for coffee. Imagine that, a $2 million coin paying for a latte. That tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it completely. The backstory of how this penny even came to exist is almost as mysterious as its current value. In 1984, the U.S. Mint struck millions of pennies, but a handful slipped through the production line without a mint mark due to a rare error. These pennies were never intended to be special. They were meant to be ordinary circulation coins. Yet here we are, decades later, and that mistake has turned some of them into the holy grail of modern coin collecting. Collectors describe finding one as a once-in-a-lifetime miracle. You're holding a story, a secret, a mistake turned treasure. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. Auctions for these coins are now private affairs, hidden behind velvet ropes and intense security. The sale records are jaw-dropping. Some of these coins have sold for nearly $2 million, and that's for a coin minted less than 40 years ago. Here's the twist that makes this story even more unbelievable. Not all 1984 no-mint mark pennies are created equal. Some are heavily circulated, scratched, and worn, still valuable, yes, but nothing close to millions. The coins that fetch seven-figure prices have a combination of perfect condition, precise die variety, and that elusive lack of mint mark. That tiny absence, so easy to overlook, is the very thing that makes it priceless. If you see a coin with the slightest D or S, you're not looking at this treasure. Collectors have shared stories that sound like urban legends. One young collector found a 1984 no-mint mark penny in his pocket change, thinking it was just another coin. He took it to a local dealer, who nearly fell off his chair when he examined it. "This is it," the dealer whispered. "This is worth millions." That moment changed his life forever. Suddenly, he had a conversation piece, a family heirloom, and a potential retirement plan, all in one small, copper coin. But here's where it gets truly wild. Some of these coins are hiding in places you would never expect. Forgotten jars of pennies, drawers in old desks, boxes of coins inherited from relatives who had no idea what they were worth. Each one has a story waiting to be discovered. And each one could be your ticket to unimaginable fortune. Imagine uncovering a coin in your own change jar that turns out to be a multi-million-dollar treasure. That's exactly what has happened to collectors around the US. First, it must be from 1984. Next, check for the mint mark. If it has a D or S, it's not the coin we're talking about. Look closely at Lincoln's shoulder and the letters of Liberty. Slight doubling or unusual spacing can be a clue. Condition matters too. A coin that's shiny, with minimal wear, and retains its original details will attract the highest bids. And remember, most people overlook the most important part: the absence of a mint mark. That's what turns an ordinary penny into a fortune. But here's the part most collectors don't realize. Even with all the right details, authentication is key. Coins like this are so valuable that counterfeiters have started trying to replicate them. A professional grading service is essential. They'll verify the coin's authenticity and assign it a grade that can exponentially increase its value. Without this, you might have $1 million coin in your hand and not even know it. And now, the final, astonishing truth. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, forgotten, overlooked, waiting for someone to realize its worth. You might be holding the key to a life-changing fortune, a story you'll tell for years. Imagine finding $2 million hiding in plain sight, in a coin that most people dismiss as trivial. That's the reality of the 1984 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. A simple mistake by the U.S. Mint, decades ago, has turned into one of the most extraordinary stories in modern numismatics. Collectors still whisper about it, dealers still chase it, and people across the country are checking their change with renewed hope. The odds may be slim, but the reward is unimaginable. A coin you once thought was worthless could transform your life overnight. So the next time you dig through your pocket change, take a second look. That ordinary penny in your hand could very well be worth millions. Imagine holding a seemingly ordinary penny in your hand, unaware that this tiny piece of copper could change your life forever. Collectors were stunned when one of these 1993 D Lincoln pennies surfaced at auction, selling for a jaw-dropping $2.1 million, a price most people thought was reserved for gold bars or rare art. But how could a coin so small, so ordinary-looking, become one of the most sought-after treasures in the coin world? It all starts in 1993 at the Denver Mint. The Lincoln penny, already a staple of American pockets for over a century, seemed unremarkable. Yet, deep in the minting process, a subtle error occurred. one that only the most attentive numismatists could detect. A slight doubling on the date, an almost imperceptible shift in the mint mark, something so small most would overlook it. But for those who know, that tiny detail is the difference between a few cents and $1 million miracle. The story of this penny reads like a suspense novel. A man cleaning out an old drawer discovered a handful of Lincoln pennies he had saved from childhood. Among them, a single coin caught his eye. At first glance, it looked normal: copper, worn edges, the familiar face of Lincoln staring back. But then he noticed it, a subtle but unmistakable anomaly in the mint mark. This small detail, invisible to the untrained eye, was exactly what collectors are hunting for. He took a chance, submitted it for grading, and waited. When the results came back, it stunned everyone. This 1993 D penny had a recognized minting error so rare that it instantly skyrocketed in value. Dealers were rushing to get their hands on similar coins. Auction houses couldn't keep up. The story spread like wildfire. One man's pocket change had become $1 million miracle. But the mystery doesn't end there. This coin is one of only a handful known to exist. Some reports suggest fewer than a dozen have ever surfaced, making each discovery feel like uncovering buried treasure. Collectors describe the thrill as almost intoxicating: the search, the suspense, the hope that somewhere in circulation, another could be hiding, waiting for the lucky hand to find it. And the errors themselves are fascinating. Experts call it a double die error, a minting mistake that leaves subtle, yet significant, duplications in the design. Look closely at the D of the mint mark and the numbers in the date. There's a faint echo, a ghost of the original strike, as if the coin is trying to tell you its secret. Most people will never see it. That tiny doubling is why this coin is worth millions, and why collectors are obsessed. The auction stories are equally jaw-dropping. One coin sold for $2.1 million in near-perfect condition. Another, slightly worn, still fetched over $1.5 million. Every sale makes headlines, every discovery reignites fevered searches in pockets, drawers, and forgotten collections. And each time, the emotional story is the same. Someone holding what seemed like a simple penny suddenly realizes they are holding something that could rewrite their financial future. Collectors who understand the value of the 1993 D Lincoln penny approach it with reverence. They know how to spot the subtle clues, how to avoid fakes and reproductions. The details are everything: the spacing of the mint mark, the faint doubling on the numbers, the way the light catches the die strike. Miss any of it, and the coin is just another penny. Spot it, and you're holding a potential life-changing treasure. The coin doesn't reveal its secrets easily. Many sit unnoticed for decades, tucked away in old coin rolls or forgotten jars. But when someone takes the time to inspect closely, the discovery is life-altering. One collector recalled checking through a box of loose change, hardly expecting anything extraordinary. Then he spotted the faint doubling on the mint mark, and his heart skipped a beat. That ordinary coin in his hand was about to make history. You have to understand the thrill for collectors. This isn't just about money. It's about being part of a legacy, about holding something so rare that it defies logic. Every time a 1993 D Lincoln penny appears at auction, the market reacts like clockwork. $1 million bids, intense scrutiny, and a rush of excitement that fills coin shops and online forums alike. One tiny detail, a double die, turns a common penny into a treasure worth millions. First, check the date carefully. Look for subtle doubling on the numbers. Examine the D mint mark at the bottom. Does it appear slightly off, or does it have an echo? Lightly tilt the coin under a bright lamp and see if shadows reveal the doubled features. Avoid reproductions. Only certified coins by reputable grading services should be trusted. And always trust your instincts. Sometimes the coins that call to you are the ones hiding the biggest surprises. The allure of the 1993 D Lincoln penny isn't just in its value. It's in the stories it carries. The man who found $1 million treasure in a drawer, the collectors who spent decades hunting for the elusive minting error, the thrill of discovering that what seemed ordinary could be extraordinary. Each coin tells a story of patience, luck, and a little bit of magic that makes collecting an obsession unlike any other. Collectors are still hunting, Dealers are still offering sky-high prices. And somewhere, maybe even in your own home, a 1993 D Lincoln penny could be sitting quietly, waiting for someone to notice its secret. One look at the double die, and suddenly, the ordinary becomes extraordinary. The forgotten becomes priceless. A small coin transforms into a story of hope, ambition, and life-changing fortune. But this coin, a 2011 D Lincoln penny, didn't stay lost. In a turn that stunned collectors across the country, it sold for over $2.2 million. Yes, a single penny, smaller than a fingernail, worth a life-changing fortune. That's where the story begins, deep in the quiet hum of the U.S. Mint, where every coin is born under strict rules, yet errors still creep through. This penny wasn't supposed to exist the way it does. A subtle minting mistake, nearly invisible to the untrained eye, transformed a coin meant for pocket change into a treasure beyond imagination. The story starts with one collector, just an ordinary man digging through loose change. He didn't believe in miracles, but that day, he found something that defied belief. Nestled among dozens of ordinary pennies, a glint caught his eye. At first, he thought it was a shiny 2011 D penny, the kind you see every day. But then, a tiny imperfection. Something off. Something magical. What he discovered was a rare die clash, an error so subtle most people miss it entirely. It was barely noticeable to the naked eye, a shadow-like anomaly etched into Lincoln's profile. Dealers, numismatists, and auction houses had seen thousands of pennies, but this one carried the whisper of rarity, and that whisper soon turned into a roar. Collectors were shocked when the news hit. Suddenly, that humble 2011 D penny was no longer just a coin, it was a golden ticket, a $1 million miracle hidden in plain sight. People across the U.S. scrambled, scanning their drawers, counting their change, hoping to stumble upon their own miracle. Some even checked jars of coins they hadn't opened in decades. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. When this penny went up for auction, bids escalated faster than anyone could imagine. What began as curiosity turned into a frenzy. Dealers who had seen every coin imaginable were now competing for something they barely understood. One auctioneer later admitted, "I've never seen anything like it." The room was electrified. Every eye locked on that penny, and everyone knew something monumental was happening. This penny isn't just valuable because of a minting quirk. Its value is a story of rarity, timing, and history colliding. 2011 was a year when Lincoln pennies were ordinary. Millions were minted and distributed. But errors like this one were anomalies, whispers of chance that collectors now recognize as priceless. It's the kind of detail that can turn a coin worth a few cents into a treasure worth millions. Most people will never spot it. Most collectors overlook the smallest details, the double die lines, the faint misalignment, the subtle markers only experts recognize. That's exactly why this penny skyrocketed to over $2.2 million. The rest? They passed it by, unaware that in their hands they might have held a fortune. Imagine holding it. The weight of history in your fingers, a coin that could change your life forever. One man's pocket change became a story that numismatists will talk about for decades. Dealers are still chasing similar coins, and every time a 2011 D penny appears, the room holds its breath, waiting to see if another miracle will emerge. First, check the mint mark. The D for Denver is essential. Then, look closely at Lincoln's profile and the rim. That's where the subtle misalignment appears, a shadow-like doubling in the finest details. Compare it to a regular penny. It's barely noticeable unless you know what you're looking for. Experts often use magnification to confirm, but even then, only the trained eye can spot the anomaly that turns a simple coin into a $1 million marvel. Collectors should also be aware of common mistakes. Not every penny with a faint imperfection is valuable. Some are harmless wear or scratches. The magic lies in the precise minting error, a combination of rarity, timing, and subtle detail that makes this coin extraordinary. What makes this story even more remarkable is how easily this fortune could have been lost. This coin could have ended up in a soda machine, rolled across a sidewalk, or tucked into a child's piggy bank, completely unrecognized. The odds were stacked against it, Yet here it stands, a testament to chance, vigilance, and the allure of hidden treasures. Every time one of these pennies emerges, it's a shockwave through the coin world. Experts examine it, collectors gasp, and auctions explode with competitive bidding. A simple penny becomes the center of attention, a treasure that could make someone a millionaire overnight. Think about that. Something worth barely a cent can become a symbol of luck, timing, and extraordinary insight. That's the magic of rare coins, the story behind them, the thrill of discovery, the knowledge that your next trip to the grocery store might hold a life-changing secret in your pocket. This is why coin collecting isn't just a hobby. It's a hunt, a gamble, a treasure map that sometimes delivers unimaginable rewards. And with the 2011 D. Lincoln penny, we see it in its purest form, a coin born ordinary, transformed by error into something priceless. $1 million coin, hidden in plain sight, waiting for the right hands to recognize its worth. So, take a close look at your change. Inspect those pennies hiding in drawers, jars, or between sofa cushions. Check for subtle die errors, faint doubling, or irregular mint marks. The tiniest detail could be your ticket to millions. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. Imagine a tiny copper penny, something we toss in jars or forget in drawers, suddenly commanding a price tag that could change a life forever. The story begins with a simple Lincoln penny, ordinary to the untrained eye, but hiding a secret so rare it's almost unbelievable. Back in 2016, a batch of Lincoln pennies was minted at the Denver Mint, seemingly just like any other. But unknown to most collectors, a small fraction of these coins emerged with a striking, almost imperceptible anomaly, a tiny mint mark variation that instantly transforms its value. At first, it was invisible, hiding in plain sight, slipping through the hands of cashiers, banks, and coin collectors alike. But once experts spotted it, the world of coin collecting was shaken to its core. Collectors were shocked. Dealers scrambled. And the lucky few who recognized the anomaly realized they were holding a key to a fortune. This wasn't just a rare penny, this was $1 million miracle waiting to be discovered in everyday change. One man, digging through a jar of loose coins he had inherited from his grandfather, almost tossed it out. He didn't realize at the time that the penny in his hand would later be valued at $2.30 million. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Auction houses began reporting sudden spikes in demand for the 2016 D penny. Stories emerged of collectors traveling hundreds of miles for the chance to examine these coins. One auction even sold a single example for nearly $2.3 million, a number almost incomprehensible for a coin that started its life worth just 1 cent. People couldn't believe their eyes. A coin they'd dismissed as ordinary was now sitting in the elite league of the most valuable pennies in U.S. history. The mint mark itself. On these rare pennies, the D for Denver isn't just stamped, it's slightly shifted, slightly doubled, or strikingly clear compared to its peers. This minor imperfection, almost invisible to the casual collector, is what makes the coin priceless. Experts call it a die error, but to the untrained eye, it looks like any normal penny. And that's why so many have missed it. Imagine holding one of these pennies. The copper gleam in your hand, the weight of history, the thrill that you could literally be holding a piece of fortune. That's exactly what collectors are chasing. Some are meticulous, scanning rolls of pennies from the Denver Mint, knowing that even one jar could contain the coin that turns a lifetime of casual collecting into a life-changing windfall. The market for these coins isn't slowing down. As more collectors learn of the anomaly, the value only climbs. A coin that could have been spent on a soda or tossed in a piggy bank is now being auctioned for prices that seem unreal. Every sale sends shockwaves through the collecting community, a reminder that treasures are hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone curious enough to notice. One man's discovery became legendary. He was just sorting through loose change in a dusty drawer when he noticed something odd about the mint mark. It didn't look right, not because it was damaged, but because it was different, subtly but unmistakably. He took it to a local coin dealer, and after careful inspection, the penny was authenticated. The dealer's eyes widened, the words were spoken, and in that instant, His pocket change became $1 million miracle. But the story doesn't end there. Even seasoned collectors can miss this coin. It's tiny, it's subtle, and it's deceptively ordinary. That's why every serious collector must know exactly what to look for. First, check the D mint mark on the reverse side of the penny. Look for signs of doubling, a misplaced stamp, or any unusual clarity compared to standard 2016 D pennies. The edges, the copper tone, the die strike, every detail counts. Mistakes are the coin's secret signature, and those who spot them are rewarded with unimaginable value. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on these coins. Auctions are tense, with collectors silently competing, knowing that missing this one opportunity could mean missing a fortune. And yet, for those who are patient, observant, and lucky, the payoff is unimaginable. A single penny can change lives, from a casual hobby to a multimillion-dollar revelation. Collectors are not just buying a coin, they are buying a story, a secret that very few have uncovered. The thrill of discovery, the suspense of authentication, and the exhilaration of a historic sale, that's what makes this coin legendary. And each time one of these pennies resurfaces, it reignites hope in the hearts of collectors everywhere, the hope that their jar of coins might hide the next life-changing treasure. Study the 2016 D Lincoln penny carefully. Look for mint mark anomalies. Compare every coin to verified examples. Examine under magnification. Learn to spot the doubling, the shift, the subtle imperfections. Knowledge is your superpower here. It transforms ordinary coins into extraordinary fortunes. And remember, this isn't just theory. The market has already proven it. $2.3 million. One coin. One discovery. One moment that turned pocket change into a story that will be told for generations. That exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. Time is ticking, coins are circulating, and history continues to hide secrets in the most mundane places. Are you ready to look closer, examine deeper, and perhaps find the penny that changes everything? Because for those who act, who notice the small details, who dare to believe, the reward is astonishing. Don't underestimate what could be in your hands. This tiny 2016 D penny isn't just a coin, it's a gateway to a fortune, a story of mystery, and a chance at $1 million discovery. But it turned a simple collector into a millionaire. Imagine holding a single penny in your hand, thinking it's just another piece of pocket change, and discovering it's worth over $2 million. That's exactly what happened with one of the most mysterious Lincoln pennies ever minted, the 1981 no mint mark. The story begins in the quiet halls of the U.S. Mint, where billions of pennies were struck every year. But in 1981, a tiny, almost imperceptible mistake slipped through the cracks. No one knew it at the time, but this imperfection would one day make a single penny more valuable than most people could ever imagine. Collectors who have studied it for decades describe it as a miracle of minting, and a coin that defies all odds. For years, the 1981 no mint mark penny was just another coin in circulation. It passed from hand to hand unnoticed, jostling between loose change in jars and wallets. Most people spent it without a second thought. But then, a single collector spotted something unusual. The coin looked ordinary at first glance, but when examined under magnification, subtle differences emerged. A faint doubling on the letters, a slightly misaligned date, a shimmer that shouldn't be there. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. That single penny was authenticated, and it turned out to be one of the rarest Lincoln cents in history. Collectors were shocked, dealers were rushing to get their hands on it, and the story spread like wildfire through auctions and coin forums. Suddenly, what had been dismissed as everyday change became a treasure of unimaginable value. Imagine the moment the auction hammer fell, and the penny sold for over $2 million. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. Stories like these aren't just legends, they are proof that hidden wealth can exist in the most ordinary of objects. The excitement isn't just about money, it's about discovery, about seeing something ordinary in a completely extraordinary way. What makes it different from the thousands of other 1981 pennies sitting in drawers across the country? Experts point to the absence of a mint mark, a rare anomaly for that year. Most pennies in 1981 carry the Philadelphia P mark, but a handful do not. Combined with subtle die errors and unique minting conditions, these pennies become a perfect storm for astronomical value. Every detail counts. Even the tiniest imperfection can multiply its worth. One faint scratch in the wrong place, or a misalignment barely visible to the naked eye, can transform a coin from ordinary to extraordinary. Collectors describe the thrill of spotting these traits as akin to finding hidden treasure buried in plain sight, and this is where the suspense gets even stronger. Some of these pennies are so well hidden that even seasoned collectors have overlooked them for decades. They sit in rolls of change, forgotten in drawers, waiting for the exact moment someone notices. That's the beauty of it, the thrill of the hunt, the almost magical chance that a coin you dismiss today could make you a millionaire tomorrow. The 1981 no mint mark penny has very subtle variations in the lettering and date alignment. Look closely at the 1 and 9 in 1981. The spacing and depth can indicate a rare die strike. Compare it with a regular penny, and the difference is faint but unmistakable. Dealers and collectors will tell you that even a slight deviation can be the key to unlocking millions, and it doesn't stop there. Auction records show this coin has consistently shattered expectations. Some examples have sold privately for over $2.4 million, a testament to how one small, overlooked detail can redefine its value entirely. For coin enthusiasts, it's a reminder that patience, observation, and a trained eye can turn the mundane into the miraculous. The emotional impact is enormous. Imagine the thrill of discovering such a penny in your own change. The disbelief, the excitement, the life-altering possibilities, it's more than money. It's a story, a legacy, a connection to history that few get to experience firsthand. One man's forgotten pocket change literally changed his life forever. Start by checking your 1981 pennies carefully. Look for the ones without a mint mark. Examine the date closely for any anomalies, slight doubling, unusual spacing, or irregularities in the numbers. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe and compare to a known regular penny. Handle the coin gently. Scratches or cleaning can reduce its value drastically. Remember, even experts sometimes miss these coins. That's why patience is key. Inspect every penny with curiosity and care. It only takes one small discovery to change your life. One ordinary coin in your pocket could hold a secret worth millions. Collectors across the United States are still hunting for these rare 1981 no mint mark pennies. Forums buzz with excitement, dealers scour coin shops, and private sales quietly exchange hands. Every rare find becomes a story, a moment frozen in history, and a reminder that treasures can hide in the most unexpected places. This coin isn't just valuable because of rarity or mistakes. It's valuable because it represents possibility. It's proof that ordinary objects, if examined with care and curiosity, can hold extraordinary secrets. And this exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. But one tiny detail stopped a collector in his tracks, and what he discovered shocked the entire coin world. Imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out a simple penny you've seen thousands of times, and realizing that this ordinary-looking piece of copper could be worth more than a luxury mansion. Sounds unbelievable, right? But that's exactly why the story of the 1987 no mint mark Lincoln penny has become one of the most talked about mysteries among collectors across America. For decades, people ignored this coin. It circulated quietly through cash registers, vending machines, and jars of loose change sitting in kitchen drawers. Millions were minted, and to most people it looked completely ordinary. But beneath that familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln lies a hidden story of subtle variations, overlooked details, and rare anomalies that turned a simple penny into a legend whispered about at coin shows and auctions. Collectors began noticing something strange years after the coin entered circulation. Some 1987 pennies without a mint mark displayed unusual characteristics that didn't match standard production. At first, it seemed like nothing more than small manufacturing inconsistencies. But then rumors started spreading about specific examples with strikingly sharp details, unusual surfaces, and minting anomalies that suggested something far more rare was hiding in plain sight. A seasoned collector reportedly found one of these coins mixed in a pile of ordinary cents purchased from a bank roll. He almost overlooked it. The coin looked like thousands of others at first glance. But under magnification, something felt different. The lettering appeared unusually crisp. The strike seemed exceptionally strong. The absence of a mint mark raised questions about where and how it was produced. After professional grading and authentication, whispers began circulating about its potential value. Auction houses became interested. Dealers started calling. And suddenly, a penny that most people would never think twice about was being discussed alongside coins worth $1 million. Collectors were shocked. How could a coin from the late 20th century, a time of massive mint production, reach such extraordinary attention? The answer lies in the fascinating world of mint errors, die varieties, and the unpredictable nature of rarity. You see, coins are not just metal discs. They are snapshots of history, frozen moments of machinery, pressure, and human oversight. Every so often, something unusual happens during production. A die may wear differently. A planchet might receive an unexpected strike. A subtle variation in alignment can transform an ordinary coin into a rare treasure. And with the 1987 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, certain examples appear to carry these subtle but powerful differences. Not every 1987 penny without a mint mark is valuable. In fact, most are worth only face value. The real treasure lies in identifying the rare characteristics that separate a common coin from a potential fortune. And that's where the suspense begins for collectors. Imagine sitting at your kitchen table late at night, sorting through a jar of coins you've ignored for years. One penny catches your eye. You flip it over. The date reads 1987. No mint mark is visible beneath the date. Your heart starts racing. But what happened next shocked even experienced collectors. Reports emerged of exceptionally high-grade examples reaching astonishing valuations, with rumors of specimens approaching or exceeding $1 million depending on condition, rarity factors, and collector demand. While these extraordinary values are reserved for the rarest versions, the possibility alone sparked a nationwide search among coin enthusiasts. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle, inspiring thousands of people to check their spare coins more carefully than ever before. And here's where the mystery deepens. During certain years, coins were produced at multiple mints, each identified by a small letter beneath the date. The absence of a mint mark typically indicates production at the Philadelphia Mint. But sometimes, unusual die varieties or striking differences make certain coins stand out dramatically from their counterparts. Collectors began examining the spacing of letters, the clarity of Lincoln's portrait, and the details in the memorial building on the reverse side. Some examples showed unusually sharp columns and enhanced design features, suggesting a special strike or rare die state. Dealers were stunned by how many people overlooked these details. Millions of coins passed through hands daily, and yet only a tiny fraction were examined closely enough to reveal their secrets. And just when collectors thought they understood the coin, another surprise emerged. Some examples displayed doubling effects in the lettering or date, subtle enough that only magnification revealed the anomaly. Others showed unique surface textures or luster patterns rarely seen in regular circulation coins. Each discovery added another layer to the growing legend surrounding this humble penny. Collectors across the United States began sharing stories online. A retiree in Ohio claimed to have found one while sorting through coins left behind by a relative. A young collector in Texas described discovering an unusual specimen while working a cashier job. Each story carried the same message: treasure can hide where you least expect it. You don't need to be a professional numismatist to find one. Many life-changing discoveries begin with ordinary people who simply take a closer look. That's why the dream remains alive for countless collectors aged 30 to 70 who imagine that the next great discovery might be sitting quietly in their pocket change. As demand grew, dealers began actively searching for high-grade examples. Grading services received increasing submissions from hopeful collectors. Some coins returned with ordinary grades, while a rare few achieved exceptional ratings that dramatically increased their value. Those top-condition coins became the stars of auctions, attracting intense bidding wars. the emotional impact on collectors was undeniable. Imagine holding a coin you've seen your entire life, only to realize it could represent financial freedom. That possibility transforms the way people look at everyday objects, and yet many people still miss the key details. Start with the date. Look for 1987 clearly printed beneath Lincoln's portrait. Next, check below the date for a mint mark. If there is no letter such as D or S, you may have a Philadelphia issue. But don't stop there, because the majority of these coins are common. Examine the coin under bright light. Look closely at the lettering, especially Liberty and In God We Trust. Any unusual doubling, extra thickness, or misalignment could signal something special. Study Lincoln's hair details and facial features. Strong, sharp lines often indicate a high-quality strike. Flip the coin over and inspect the Lincoln Memorial. Count the columns. Check the clarity of the steps and architectural lines. Rare examples often display exceptional detail that stands out immediately compared to ordinary circulated coins. Condition matters enormously. Coins with minimal wear, strong luster, and few scratches attract far more attention from collectors. If your coin appears unusually pristine for its age, it may be worth professional evaluation, but avoid common mistakes. Cleaning the coin can drastically reduce its value. Scrubbing or polishing may seem harmless, but collectors prefer original surfaces. Handle coins gently, preferably by the edges. And here's the cliffhanger that keeps collectors searching. Even experts sometimes miss valuable coins because they assume modern pennies cannot be rare. That assumption has caused countless treasures to slip unnoticed through hands and back into circulation. A simple-looking 1991 D mint mark Lincoln penny. A coin most people wouldn't even bend down to pick up. Yet hidden among millions of ordinary cents, one rare variation shocked the collecting world and sparked rumors of a value climbing toward $2 million. Imagine this. A man cleaning out an old jar of spare change. Nothing special. Just dusty coins rattling together after years of neglect. He almost dumped them into a coin-counting machine without a second thought. But something caught his eye. A shine. A detail. A small anomaly that didn't look quite right. That moment changed everything. The 1991 D Lincoln penny was never supposed to be extraordinary. Produced at the Denver Mint during a period of high-volume coin production, millions were struck and circulated quickly. At first glance, they all looked identical. Abraham Lincoln's familiar profile. The Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Copper-plated zinc composition typical of the era. Nothing about it suggested treasure. During the early 1990s, the U.S. Mint faced enormous pressure to produce coins rapidly. Machines were running fast. Dies were replaced frequently. And sometimes, in the rush to meet demand, tiny errors slipped through. Most errors are small, but occasionally, a perfect storm creates a rarity that collectors dream about for decades. One such anomaly appeared on certain 1991 D pennies. Collectors began noticing strange variations in die alignment, subtle doubling effects, and extremely rare strike characteristics that made some coins stand out dramatically from the rest. At first, dealers dismissed them. Then a few experienced collectors took a closer look, and suddenly whispers started spreading through coin shows and online forums. Collectors were shocked, because these weren't just minor imperfections. Some examples showed extraordinary die anomalies that gave Lincoln's features a slightly doubled appearance under magnification. Others displayed unusually strong strikes paired with flawless surfaces, suggesting they were struck under unique conditions. A few showed rare transitional die states that shouldn't have existed at all. Auction houses began tracking unusual 1991 D examples. Prices climbed steadily. Hundreds became thousands. Thousands became tens of thousands. Then one extraordinary specimen, graded at an exceptionally high mint state level with rare characteristics, sparked headlines that changed everything. The coin didn't come from a museum collection or a wealthy investor. It came from circulation. Pocket change. A coin that had lived an ordinary life before someone recognized the hidden details others missed. Because rarity isn't just about age. It's about survival and uniqueness. While millions of 1991 D pennies exist, Only a tiny fraction displayed the combination of die errors, pristine preservation, and unique visual markers that transformed them from common currency into numismatic treasure. But what happened next stunned even experienced collectors. As word spread, more people began checking their coins. Some claimed to find doubled features. Others believed they had rare varieties. Most turned out to be normal wear or machine doubling, which holds little value. Yet a handful of verified examples confirmed that something unusual truly existed within this year's production. One expert described it as a modern treasure hunt hiding in plain sight. Think about it. Coins from the early 1990s are still circulating today. Unlike ancient coins locked away in collections, the 1991 penny could still be sitting in cash registers, piggy banks, or forgotten drawers. That possibility turned everyday searching into an obsession. A collector attending a small regional coin show reportedly presented a near-perfect example that stunned graders. The surfaces were immaculate. The strike was razor-sharp. And under magnification, subtle doubling and die characteristics matched a previously documented rare variant. Rumors began circulating about potential valuation reaching close to $2 million if confirmed and sold under the right conditions. The answer lies in the perfect storm of rarity factors: exceptional condition, unique minting anomalies, and the powerful psychology of collectors chasing a modern legend. Unlike older coins where rarity is well established, modern rarities carry mystery. They can emerge suddenly, rewriting the market overnight. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. Most people look at coins casually. They glance, assume, and move on. But collectors slow down. They examine edges, lettering, spacing, and minute design details. The difference between a 1-cent coin and a $1 million discovery often comes down to microscopic differences invisible to the untrained eye, and the 1991 penny proves that even modern coins can hide extraordinary secrets. Let's talk about the Denver Mint itself. The D Mint mark sits just below the date on the obverse side. During the early 1990s, minting technology was advanced but still vulnerable to subtle die wear and alignment issues. Over time, dies degrade, creating slight shifts in design elements. When caught at the right moment, these shifts create unique coins that collectors classify as rare die varieties. Stories like this spread fast because they tap into a universal dream. The idea that wealth could be hiding in something ordinary. That a quick glance at your change could rewrite your financial future. And while not every 1991 penny holds extraordinary value, the existence of rare examples keeps hope alive. Online communities began sharing side-by-side comparisons. Close-up images revealed subtle differences in Lincoln's eye, the lettering of Liberty, and the spacing around the mint mark. Experienced numismatists explained how specific die markers indicated rare production stages. Suddenly, knowledge became power. Collectors were no longer just searching randomly. They were hunting with purpose. And that's when the frenzy began. Coin roll hunters across the United States started buying rolls of pennies from banks. Late-night searches became common. Magnifying glasses and LED lights replaced casual glances. Each coin was flipped, inspected, and compared against known rare characteristics. Because modern coins with potential $1 million value are extremely rare, but not impossible. And the possibility alone is enough to fuel endless searching. Condition matters more than almost anything else. A rare die variety in poor condition may only bring modest value, while a pristine example graded at the highest levels can explode in price. The difference between worn and flawless can mean the difference between a few dollars and $1 million. Professional grading services evaluate coins under strict standards. They look for surface preservation, strike quality, luster, and originality. When a rare 1991 penny combines unusual die characteristics with near-perfect condition, collectors pay attention immediately. But what happened next surprised everyone. A wave of misinformation flooded the market. Some sellers claimed every 1991 penny was valuable. Others exaggerated values wildly. Experienced collectors had to remind newcomers that only specific rare variants hold extreme value. Start by locating the D Mint mark beneath the date. Next, examine Lincoln's profile carefully under magnification. Look for subtle doubling in key areas such as the lettering, the eye, or the edges of the portrait. Study the clarity of the strike. Rare examples often show unusually sharp detail compared to normal coins. Pay attention to overall condition. Bright luster, minimal scratches, and clean surfaces increase potential value dramatically. Compare your coin against verified images from trusted numismatic sources rather than relying on random online listings, and avoid common mistakes. Machine doubling is often confused with true doubled dies. True doubling shows separation and clear design duplication, while machine doubling appears flat and shelf-like. Most importantly, never clean your coin. Cleaning destroys original surfaces and can reduce value instantly. But here's the biggest twist in the story. Many rare coins weren't discovered by experts. They were found by ordinary people curious enough to look closely. People who refused to assume their change was worthless. A simple brown penny. No flashy design. No gold shine. Just a small piece of copper-colored metal that looked like every other coin in circulation. Yet behind that ordinary appearance hides a mystery that has fascinated collectors for decades. The 1982 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, a coin tied to one of the most chaotic and misunderstood transitions in American coin history. Imagine reaching into your pocket, hearing the soft jingle of loose change, and pulling out a coin that could change your life forever. That's exactly what happened to one collector who almost ignored a dull-looking penny mixed in with grocery store change. At first glance, nothing seemed unusual. But one tiny detail made him pause. That hesitation led to a discovery that collectors still talk about today. To understand why this coin causes such excitement, we need to go back to 1982, a year that turned the Lincoln cent upside down. The U.S. Mint made a major shift that year, switching from a mostly copper composition to a zinc-based coin with a thin copper plating. Rising metal costs forced the change, but during the transition, multiple variations were created. Different die styles. Different metal compositions. Different minting methods. It was a perfect storm for rare errors and hidden treasures. And here's where things get interesting. Coins without a mint mark were produced in Philadelphia, and most people assume they're common. After all, millions were made. But collectors quickly learned that certain combinations of design and metal were incredibly scarce, almost accidental creations born from a year of confusion. Collectors were shocked when they realized that some 1982 no-mint mark pennies carried rare characteristics that shouldn't exist together. Some showed unexpected die varieties. Others revealed subtle weight differences that hinted at experimental or transitional strikes. And a few rare specimens surfaced that stunned grading companies with their unusual features. An example surfaced that appeared ordinary but displayed extremely rare traits combined in one coin. Experts examined it closely. Weight measurements, microscopic analysis, die alignment. Every detail suggested it was a transitional anomaly, the kind of coin that wasn't supposed to exist, created during the chaotic switch between copper and zinc compositions. When the news spread, collectors started searching their jars of pennies like treasure hunters scanning a desert for gold. Dealers reported a sudden surge in demand. Online forums lit up with discussions. And rumors began circulating about potential market values reaching into the realm of $1 million territory for ultra-rare specimens in exceptional condition. The answer lies in rarity, timing, and story. Coins that capture a unique moment in history, especially a transitional year like 1982, become symbols of chance and mystery. They represent the unexpected intersection between human error and historical change. One longtime collector described the moment. He found a strange 1982 penny. He said his heart started racing when he noticed the lettering looked slightly different from others he owned. He almost dismissed it, assuming it was just wear. But something felt off. He weighed it, compared it, and eventually sent it to a grading service. Weeks later, the results came back, confirming he held something far more unusual than he imagined. But the most shocking detail isn't just the rarity. It's how easily these coins blend in with everyday change. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. The key lies in understanding the different varieties from 1982. That year saw both large date and small date designs, and both copper and zinc compositions. Many collectors overlook the subtle differences between the numbers in the date. The shape of the 2 in 1982. The curve of the 8. These details may look insignificant, but they can mean the difference between a common coin and one worth a fortune. And then there's the weight. Copper cents weigh about 3.11 grams, while zinc cents weigh around 2.5 grams. That difference might sound tiny, but it's a massive clue. Some rare combinations exist that were never meant to be produced in large numbers, making them incredibly valuable. As more collectors began examining their coins, unexpected discoveries started appearing. People who had ignored pennies for years suddenly found themselves inspecting every detail under bright lights and magnifying glasses. Stories emerged of retirees rediscovering childhood collections, families sorting through inherited coin jars, and young collectors becoming obsessed with the possibility of uncovering a hidden treasure. One auction story in particular added fuel to the excitement. A coin originally dismissed as ordinary was re-examined years later, revealing rare characteristics tied to the 1982 transition. Once authenticated, its value skyrocketed, and collectors realized that hidden gems might still be circulating unnoticed. Collectors were shocked because this wasn't a centuries-old coin locked away in a museum. It was modern, familiar, accessible. The kind of penny you might receive as change after buying coffee. Many rare coins go unnoticed because owners don't know what to look for. They glance at the date, see nothing unusual, and move on. Yet experts say the biggest mistakes happen when people rely only on surface appearance. True value hides in details invisible to casual observers. Imagine the thrill of discovering that your everyday pocket change contains a coin that collectors describe as a once-in-a-generation find. That emotional surge, the moment when ordinary turns extraordinary, is what drives the fascination with the 1982 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. Condition plays a huge role. Coins preserved with sharp details, strong luster, and minimal wear command dramatically higher prices. A rare variety in pristine condition can leap from modest value to staggering levels, sometimes pushing into the $1 million conversation when rarity and demand align perfectly. This tiny piece of history carries the legacy of Abraham Lincoln, a design that has survived for generations. Yet the year 1982 transformed it into a puzzle filled with hidden variations, secret differences, and stories of unexpected discovery. And here's something many collectors don't realize until it's too late. Cleaning a coin can destroy its value. Many beginners polish pennies thinking they're improving appearance, but professionals consider original surfaces sacred. One wrong cleaning attempt can erase thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in potential value. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on rare transitional pennies because supply is limited, and new discoveries are becoming harder as more coins are identified and removed from circulation. Every time one is graded and sealed, that's one less mystery hiding in pocket change. Start by examining the date closely. Compare the shape of the numbers to known large and small date varieties. Next, weigh the coin using a precise digital scale. If it falls into the copper range, it might deserve further inspection. Look for unusual die characteristics, strong strike details, and any signs that the coin differs from typical examples. Avoid assuming that all no-mint mark pennies are rare. Most are common, but hidden among them are rare combinations that collectors desperately seek. That's why patience and careful examination matter. Life-changing discoveries don't always come from dramatic treasure hunts. Sometimes they come from slowing down and noticing something everyone else ignores. Collectors were shocked when ordinary people, not professional dealers, began uncovering rare coins simply by paying attention to their change. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. Another collector turned a childhood hobby into a lifelong passion after discovering a rare variation hiding in plain sight. Every penny has a story, but a few carry secrets powerful enough to rewrite someone's future. The 1982 no-mint mark Lincoln penny represents that possibility. The idea that history, chance, and curiosity can collide in the palm of your hand. Yes, a simple-looking 1985 Lincoln penny. A coin millions of Americans carried in their pockets without a second thought. A coin that looked ordinary, until someone noticed one tiny detail that changed everything. Picture this. It's the mid-1980s. Arcades buzzing, cassette tapes rewinding, and billions of pennies pouring out of the U.S. Mint every year. Among them were countless 1985 Lincoln cents without a mint mark, struck in Philadelphia, passing from hand to hand like background noise in the story of American money. Nobody stopped to look closely. Nobody imagined that hidden among these coins were rare variations and errors capable of turning pocket change into life-changing treasure. Collectors today still talk about the moment one of these pennies surfaced. A man sorting through a jar of coins inherited from his grandfather nearly skipped over it. It looked dull, worn, and completely average. But something about the lettering felt off. The shine had a strange texture. And when he finally took a magnifying glass to it, his heart nearly stopped. That discovery sent shockwaves through the collecting world. The 1985 no-mint mark Lincoln penny isn't supposed to be rare on its own. Millions were made. Yet rarity in coin collecting doesn't always come from low mintage numbers. Sometimes it comes from mistakes, hidden minting anomalies, production quirks, tiny details invisible to the untrained eye but priceless to experts who know exactly what they're looking for. In the mid-1980s, the U.S. Mint was transitioning through different production methods and quality control challenges. Dies wore out quickly. Machinery created pressure inconsistencies. And occasionally, coins slipped through with subtle errors that turned them into legends decades later. One rumored example featured an extraordinary double die effect. Not the obvious kind beginners expect, but a subtle, dramatic doubling visible under magnification, especially around the date and lettering. Dealers who examined it reportedly argued for hours over its authenticity. Some believed it was one of the finest examples ever seen. Collectors were shocked. Dealers began searching. Suddenly, jars of pennies across the country were being dumped onto tables, each coin examined under bright lights in the hope of finding the next miracle. Another discovery involved an unusual strike quality combined with an off-metal planchet theory. Experts debated whether the coin had been struck using an experimental blank. If true, it would explain the unique color tone and weight difference that made it stand out instantly to experienced numismatists. Auctions buzzed with rumors. Online forums exploded. And whispers of $1 million began circulating. Imagine holding something so small, so ordinary, that it could pass unnoticed for decades, yet carries a secret capable of changing someone's life forever. The Lincoln penny itself has always been a symbol of hidden value. Since its introduction in 1909 honoring Abraham Lincoln, collectors have hunted for rare varieties that slipped past mint inspectors. Some of the most famous coins in American history began as simple pocket change. The idea that a modern-era penny could join that elite group felt almost unbelievable, until real-world examples proved otherwise. One collector described the moment he realized the importance of his coin. He had purchased a small batch of mixed pennies at a flea market. Nothing special, just a casual hobby purchase. Weeks later, under a microscope, he noticed the crispness of the design paired with strange alignment irregularities. He sent it for professional grading, expecting little. The response came back with a note requesting further evaluation. That's when he knew something extraordinary was happening. Word spread quickly. Collectors who had ignored 1980s coins suddenly reconsidered their assumptions. Dealers began advertising aggressively, asking customers to bring in their 1985 pennies for inspection. Online marketplaces filled with listings, some hopeful, some wildly exaggerated, and a few potentially genuine treasures hiding among the noise. And this is where emotion enters the story. Because for many collectors, the dream isn't just about money. It's about discovery. The thrill of uncovering something overlooked by millions of people. The moment when history and luck collide in the palm of your hand. Stories surfaced of retirees rediscovering old coin collections. Young collectors checking their piggy banks. Families sitting together at kitchen tables, carefully examining pennies under magnifying glasses, searching for that one detail everyone else missed. The absence of a mint mark alone does not make the coin valuable. Philadelphia coins from 1985 commonly lack mint marks. The real secret lies in the combination of factors. strong doubling, unusual strike characteristics, rare die states, or extremely high-grade condition that survived decades without wear. These factors transform a common coin into an extraordinary one. Collectors look for sharp lettering on Liberty, and in God we trust. They examine the date closely, searching for doubling or unusual spacing. They check the coin's surface for signs of die cracks or anomalies. And most importantly, they evaluate the overall condition. A coin preserved in near-perfect state is dramatically more valuable than one that circulated heavily. But here's the twist most people don't realize. Many valuable coins are discovered not in expensive collections but in everyday places. Loose change jars, old dresser drawers, forgotten coffee cans filled with coins saved decades ago. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle because he took the time to look closer. And that idea continues to fuel the hunt. Auction stories tell of collectors who dismissed coins at first glance, only to later regret overlooking tiny details. Others recount the excitement of watching bids climb rapidly as two determined buyers fought over a rare example, pushing the final price into territory nobody expected. $1 million. The phrase sounds unreal when applied to a penny. Yet history has shown again and again that rarity combined with demand can create unbelievable value. But what happened next changed how many collectors approached modern coins forever. The attention surrounding rare 1980s Lincoln pennies inspired a new generation of treasure hunters. Instead of focusing only on early 1900s coins, collectors began examining more recent dates with fresh eyes. The realization spread that valuable treasures might still be hiding in circulation, waiting for someone curious enough to notice. 1985. Then confirm there is no mint mark beneath the date, meaning it was struck in Philadelphia. Next, examine the lettering carefully under magnification. Look for doubling effects, unusual thickness in letters, or alignment inconsistencies. Pay attention to the coin's shine and strike quality. Exceptionally sharp details can signal a higher grade specimen. Weigh the coin if possible, as unusual planchet errors may reveal differences. And most importantly, avoid cleaning the coin. Cleaning can destroy value instantly and erase evidence experts rely on for authentication. Collectors often make the mistake of assuming all pennies from a certain year are valuable. That's not true. Only specific rare variations, errors, or exceptionally preserved examples reach extraordinary values. Patience and careful inspection are the keys. And yet, the magic of this story isn't just about rarity or money. It's about possibility. The idea that something overlooked by millions could hold unimaginable value creates a sense of adventure that keeps collectors searching year after year. Every handful of change becomes a treasure hunt. Every penny holds a question mark. Because somewhere out there, another rare 1985 no mint mark Lincoln penny may still be hiding, waiting for the right person to notice its secret. So before you spend your next handful of coins, pause for a moment. Look closely. Feel the weight of history resting in your palm. The next incredible discovery might not come from an auction house or a museum. It might come from your own pocket.